Cheering the red and the white, the Swans upset the Hawks in a classic grand final.
They've done it! What a team!
Jill's legacy, more CCTV cameras for Melbourne night spots. Another group of asylum seekers sent home after refusing to go to Nauru. And the Melbourne Storm prepare to snatch one back for Victoria in tomorrow's NRL Grand Final. Hello, Ben Knight with ABC News. The Sydney Swans have won their 5th premiership in a gripping battle with the flag favourites Hawthorn. And it wasn't until the final minutes that the Swans edged ahead. They eventually got home by 10 points, but right until the end it was a game that could have gone either way. Well, the celebrations are underway in earnest, particularly at the MCG. Our reporter Nick Bailey is there soaking up the atmosphere.
Well, the party's just getting underway inside the MCG behind me, and it is the Sydney faithful who are celebrating. This was a grand final to remember, a classic contest involving huge momentum swings from each side. It looked at times like the Swans were going to run away with it, then the Hawks. In the end, it was the Sydney Swans who were the 10-point victors here in memorable scenes. It's their first premiership since 2005, the 5th in their history, and their fans, well, they seem to have a habit of watching their team put together close grand finals. It was yet another thriller, just like the ones Sydney contested with West Coast in 2005 and 2006. For Hawthorn, an incredibly brave effort. Their players gave everything. They were led from the front by their skipper Luke Hodge, who played most of the match with a rather nasty head wound, which summarised the level of effort and the commitment from the players involved in today's match. But as it is, it's the Sydney Swans who are the 2012 premiers, and no doubt their fans will be celebrating long into the night here in Victoria and in New South Wales in the days, weeks and months to come.
Nick Bailey there. Well, we'll have a full report later in sport, but this was the culmination of a long day and a very long season for AFL fans, even if it didn't end the way the Hawks fans hoped. Here's our reporter Amy Bainbridge.
Again, and they're home all right. They've done it. What a team.
It's the stuff dreams are made of.
That's what it's all about.
A classic Melbourne day for the 2012 premiership, the 2 best teams and 4 seasons in one day. And while the players didn't disappoint, neither did the fans.
Cheer, cheer the red and the white! The sun's out, the wind's just got to drop and we're laughing.
They came early and in their thousands. Some had camped overnight to snag a ticket into the members area.
Excited. It's going to be a good day.
There were fashions on the field too, and some original designs.
Actually, they're really good windbreakers. They're amazing.
Barbecues were dotted around the G as fans started the party well before the game.
The priority here, of course, is to have a good time, but fans also want to stay out of the elements. So many people here at the MCG have rigged up shelter in a bid to stay dry.
What I've got here is a pop-up tent with safety ballast, just so we don't Mary Poppins it into the ground, because we're a little bit worried about that.
As young and old streamed into the MCG, there were smaller celebrations right around the city and the nation. Glenferrie Oval remains Hawthorn's spiritual home. The club hosted a family day. And Swans supporters flocked to their old stomping ground pubs in South Melbourne.
I couldn't get a ticket to go to the grand, so this was the next best thing.
These Swans supporters hope they'll be back to do it all again next year. Amy Bainbridge, ABC News, Melbourne.
Well, back now to the football, and Swans fans are already celebrating, will probably be celebrating well into the night after the Sydney team claimed its 2nd premiership in 5 years. Well, our reporter Nick Bailey is still at the MCG. Nick, how's the mood?
Well, it's been an incredible evening and it's getting underway here, Ben, and it's been a wonderful afternoon. It was certainly a match to remember. It was a very special grand final, and it had a bit of everything. As I said earlier, we had momentum swings, we had courage from the players. It was everything you hope for from a grand final. Hawthorn were incredibly brave for the favourites and the minor premiers, but Sydney, they just found something extra. Their senior players really stood up, and their veterans. Nearly 100,000 fans were here, and they were treated to a really special game. Let's have a look at how it all panned out today.
So
There wasn't any rain, but someone forgot to tell the players. The opening exchanges were tough and uncompromising. Daniel Hannebury's efforts symbolised the players' tough commitment to the ball.
Courage by Hannebury.
Jetta and Rioli decided it was time to put on a show, and they didn't disappoint.
Rioli can't go with him. Jetta wins the gold medal.
Neither did Luke Bruce.
And he does.
And by the time Jack Gunston goaled, Hawthorn was holding all the aces at quarter time.
As Gunston rolls.
Sydney needed something to happen fast, and Josh Kennedy duly delivered.
Kennedy. He knew his range.
The Swans breathtakingly took the lead with one of the team goals of the year.
Reid lines up at goal. It does not get better than that.
A Mitch Morton double in the lead up to quarter time blew the Swans' lead out to 16 points. Sydney picked up where it left off in the second term in style. After a staggering goalless 43 minutes, Hale found the middle, and Franklin decided to take matters into his own hands.
It's a goal. That could be a lifter.
And it was. The momentum had shifted, and it was Hawthorn running hot.
Hasn't got the carry. I think so.
In the final term, the Hawks had 2 goals and a handy lead in no time. But Sydney first slowed the Hawthorn press and then pushed back. Hannebury's goal was a lift. Kieran Jacks had the Sydney faithful on their feet, and Adam Goods had them in a state of delirium.
Cometh the moment, cometh the champion.
Leaving Nick Malcheski to enter Sydney folklore.
Is that the grand final? Sydney are premiers.
The Swans' 5th premiership was given an exclamation point with a Norm Smith medal to Ryan O'Keefe. Hawthorn was brave, beaten, and is sure to rise again. While in a decade which has seen Sydney ever competitive, it was fitting the premiership wait for the Swans was significantly shorter this time. Well, there's surely never been a more seamless transition in coaching than the handover between Paul Roos and John Longmire in just his 2nd season at the club. Longmire has guided the Swans to their 5th premiership. He's sure to now enter Sydney folklore forever, along with Mick Malcheski, who kicked that goal. Let's have a look at what John Longmire had to say at the post-match press conference.
You know, it's fantastic. I was lucky enough to play in one in my last game, and now as a coach to see the 22 players experience it, some for the second time, but many for the first time, is one of the great experiences I've had, to be able to see the joy in their faces and get reward for what's just been a fantastic season.
They're a very, very good football side, and we're disappointed that we didn't get the result. There's stages throughout the course of the game where we played well and Sydney didn't play so well, and there are stages in the game where Sydney played very well and we didn't play so well. So what you do know is when you come to the big dance at the end of September, you're not going to win them all the time.
So it was Alistair Clarkson who was the sadder of the 2 coaches. Obviously disappointment for his side, but a lot for him to be proud of. Hawthorn fans who are proud of their side, they can head to a fan day tomorrow arranged by the club. That'll be at Waverley Oval. Sydney fans who want to continue the celebrations, there will be an event in Melbourne. You'll need to be up bright and early at 7:30 tomorrow morning at the Lakeside Oval. Sydney faithful can gather there. The team will be presented at some time before 11:30 when they need to board a plane to Sydney to continue on the celebrations. There are plenty of celebrations also in the MCG behind me for the first ever fan party. Sydney fans leading that, and it's been a wonderful day at the MCG, a great finish to the 2012 AFL season, and that's all we've got from the MCG.